Well, there's one of our fall blooming camellias. Sort of muted, but still beautiful in the third day of October. And there are a lot of flowers to open on this. And that camellia from a distance, and you can see where I got almost all the pine needles off the roof, except a few have fallen. A lot of pine trees. Here's some of the butternuts we picked the other day. We leave in the cottage here when we're gone because the cottage stays about 70 degrees, and that's the temperature it needs for them to get sweeter. The reason that one is a little greener than the others was that the whole vine had died. Now these stayed on there long enough to be ripe. Generally you'd leave them on the vines until the vines die in the fall from frost. But you have to pick them before it frosts. If they get cold temperatures below freezing, they will not keep. A third Alibaba, and when I took this nice knife here and started cutting open, it just split one end to the other. Pop! You can see where this thing busted right open on its own after I'd cut this. And I just gave my bride a piece. And to be hot, it's not really hot. It's not probably high 70s today. But I just brought it over from across the street. And when they split it open like that, they're perfect. Man, if that is just cold. What we usually do is cut these up. One thing about Alibaba, it has one row of seeds. See that? One row of seeds. You don't have them all over it. It's just that one row. But we cut all this up and put it in Rubbermaid tubs. And put it in the refrigerator. So when we want some, we can just take the tub out and put some in a dish, a bowl, or stick a fork in a piece or two and close it up and put it back in the fridge. But that's the third Alibaba. Well, today is the 3rd of October, a Thursday, and we picked the garden late Sunday, so about 3.5 days. It's 2:30, and this stuff we started picking this morning. There's the cherry tomatoes, okra, still producing little shoots. They are not huge, but they're still tasty. The tomatoes are getting a little bit bigger. That one's had water on it. And here's our plum tomatoes. They're just prolific. And the beans have really come in. There's a Walmart bag, all we care to put in one. And these are some that we have strung. These are Blue Lake F1s, pole beans. They don't really require a lot of stringing. And we pick a dry pod like that because these beans are extremely tasty, and I think that's where the sweetness of these pole beans comes from, is the bean itself. So we split these pods open that are dry and just blanch the beans and the empty beans and the whole green bean at the same time and freeze them. And it would be something if you had a dish of just the beans. And here's the squash that we forgot to pick Sunday. But you can see I can put my fingernail in each one of these big old boys, and it's still edible. They're tender. You might have to scrape the seeds out of them, but you can eat the flesh. Dinner is served. A grilled ribeye, string beans that were picked an hour ago, squash and potatoes fried up with onions, sweet onions. Time to eat.